Ghana is facing one of its most intense public transport challenges in recent years. Across Accra and other major urban centers, commuters are dealing with long queues, scarce vehicles, unpredictable fares, and hours lost daily just trying to get to work, school, or home. What was once an inconvenience has now become a national concern, sparking public outrage, media scrutiny, and high-level government intervention. This crisis did not appear overnight. It is the result of years of structural weaknesses, rapid urban growth, and delayed reforms finally colliding with today's economic and social realities. To understand where Ghana is now, we must first look at how the problem began. Before we begin, kindly subscribe to the channel if you haven't done so yet. At the heart of the problem is urban population growth without matching transport expansion. Cities like Accra, Kumasi, and Tema have grown rapidly over the last 2 decades, but road networks and public transport systems have not expanded at the same pace. Every year, thousands of new residents enter these cities, increasing pressure on already overstretched transport services. Ghana's public transport system has long depended on a hybrid model. Limited state-owned buses such as Metro Mass Transit and Ialolo, combined with a largely informal private sector dominated by trotros, minibuses, and taxis. While this system has kept cities moving, it has also created fragility. When private operators reduce trips due to traffic, fuel costs, or congestion, there is no strong state-run backup to absorb the shock. Another root cause is chronic traffic congestion. Accra consistently ranks among the most congested cities in Africa. Gridlock reduces the number of daily trips each commercial vehicle can make. A bus or trotro that should complete 6 trips a day may only manage 3. Fewer trips mean fewer vehicles available for passengers, even when demand remains high. The crisis has also been worsened by aging fleets. Many public buses and trotros are old, poorly maintained, and frequently break down. Replacement and expansion of fleets have been slow, largely due to funding constraints and delays in procurement. Seasonal pressure plays a role as well. The Christmas and New Year period traditionally places extreme demand on transport systems. This past festive season exposed existing weaknesses, and instead of easing in January, the strain has continued into the new year. As of mid-January 2026, the situation on the streets is dire. At major transport terminals across Accra, commuters queue for hours before securing a vehicle. Some workers leave home before dawn, not because of distance, but because finding transport has become unpredictable. Miss one vehicle, and a commuter may wait another hour or more. Vehicle scarcity has become common during peak hours. Routes that once had a steady flow of trotros now see long gaps between arrivals. This scarcity has opened the door to illegal fare hikes, with some drivers charging more than approved rates, especially during rush hours or late evenings. Women, children, and the elderly are bearing the greatest burden. Overcrowded terminals raise safety concerns, while rising transport costs eat into household incomes. For low-income earners, transport expenses now consume a significant portion of daily wages. The economic impact is equally troubling. Delays affect punctuality, productivity, and business operations. Informal traders lose selling time, office workers arrive late, and students struggle with attendance. The transport crisis is quietly draining economic energy from the country. The growing public outcry has forced transport to the top of the national agenda. The Vice President, Professor Jane Nana Opoku-Agyeman, has stepped in to engage the Ministry of Transport and key stakeholders. Government officials have acknowledged that the situation is unacceptable and requires urgent intervention. One immediate response has been increased enforcement. Security agencies and metropolitan authorities have been deployed to transport terminals to clamp down on illegal fare hikes and unlawful practices by drivers. Some drivers have been arrested or sanctioned for charging unapproved fares. Metro Mass Transit has also adjusted operations, reducing some intercity services to reassign buses to high-demand urban routes. The goal is to temporarily boost capacity where commuter pressure is greatest. Government has also appealed to transport unions and private operators to better manage public assets, particularly state-provided buses, which often suffer from poor maintenance and misuse. Beyond emergency measures, several medium and long-term solutions are being discussed or initiated. One key proposal is the expansion and modernization of urban bus systems. Government is exploring ways to increase the number of buses on critical routes, including awaiting external support and grants to grow fleets such as Ialolo. The Accra Metropolitan Assembly has announced plans to introduce a city-owned electric bus system. This initiative aims to provide affordable, reliable, and environmentally friendly transport while reducing dependence on informal operators. Though still in the planning stage, it represents a shift toward structured mass transit. There is also renewed discussion around diversifying transport modes. The Transport Ministry has suggested moving more freight transport onto waterways, reducing the number of heavy trucks on roads and easing congestion for passenger vehicles. In the broader sense, transport experts continue to push for integrated urban mobility planning, including better traffic management, improved road design, dedicated bus lanes, and eventual investment in rail-based urban transport system. Ghana's transport crisis is not just about traffic or inconvenience. It is a social equity issue. When transport fails, the poorest citizens suffer the most. It affects access to jobs, education, healthcare, and basic opportunities. It is also an economic issue. Lost hours on the road translate into lost productivity and higher costs for businesses and households alike. Most importantly, it is a governance challenge. Sustainable transport requires coordination, long-term planning, investment, and political will. Ghana's public transport crisis is the result of years of underinvestment, rapid urban growth, congestion, and reliance on an informal system stretched beyond its limits. While recent government interventions signal seriousness, lasting solutions will require structural reforms, sustained funding, and cooperation between the state and private operators. The choices made in the coming months will determine whether Ghana continues to struggle with daily transport chaos or moves toward a more reliable, efficient, and inclusive urban mobility system. For millions of commuters, the hope is simple: a transport system that works, not occasionally but every day. That is all for today's video. Kindly like, share, and subscribe to the channel. Thank you, and on to the next video.